Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Today we are starting our unit about Women's History Month, and we are starting by continuing talking about poetry, especially looking at those similes and metaphors that we have mentioned in class. So grab your pencil, grab your paper, and let's get started. So today our goal is to tell the difference between a metaphor and a simile. Those are two types of figurative language, a metaphor and a simile. So, what is a simile? It's a comparison. It means you're comparing two things that are not like each other. So it wouldn't make sense to compare like a leaf and another leaf. Like that wouldn't be a comparison. Two things that aren't like each other. And when we compare them, we use like or as. So you might say the shirt is as green as grass. So the two things you're comparing are the shirt and grass. Those are two things that aren't like each other, but you are comparing how they are green. They are as green as grass. Or the stars are like diamonds in the sky. You are comparing the stars and the diamonds, and you are saying they are like each other. The stars are like diamonds in the sky. Here are some other examples. You could say someone is as busy as a bee, or that the shoes, they sparkle like diamonds, or that you are as hungry as a bear, or as flat as a pancake, or as hard as a rock. The important thing is you have those two things you're comparing, and you're using those words like or as. That is a simile, comparing two things using like and as. On the other hand, we also have a metaphor. It is also a comparison. We're still comparing two things that are not like each other, but in this case, we do not use like and as. When we have a metaphor and we are comparing, we do not use the words like or as. So if I say the streets were made of glass, the streets are not literally made of glass. It's still figurative language. I don't mean there's glass on the street. But I'm also not using like or as. I'm comparing the street to glass, but I did not use that word like, and I did not use that word as. Or I could say she is a lion. I'm not saying she literally is a lion, like I'm looking at her and she's a lion. I'm saying she's kind of like one, but instead of saying she's like a lion, since it's a metaphor, I'm just saying she is a lion. Here are some other metaphor examples. The sun was a gleaming pearl. Again, it's not literally a pearl. We're just saying it's kind of like it. And in a metaphor, we're saying it was a gleaming pearl. My baby brother is a cute teddy bear. We're comparing the brother and the teddy bear. My sister's memory is a camera that remembers everything we see. So again, it's not literally a camera. We're just comparing her memory to a camera. The car seat is a fluffy cloud, or custard is happiness in a bowl. So let's look at some poems and see if we can find these similes and metaphors. So this first one is childhood home. Let's see if we can find some comparisons in it, and then we'll see if those comparisons are using the word like, or if they're using the word as, or if they're not using them at all. Childhood home. Morning is love. When mom bids me arise, eggs shaped like heart, a breakfast surprise. The sun barely risen looks down with a smile and says, take your time, just sit for a while. So in this first stanza, I'm already seeing morning is love. I'm not saying it's like love, so it's not a simile. I'm saying it is love. It's a metaphor. I'm comparing the morning to love. Tea time is rest. So tea time is like when you have a snack or you have a little drink in the middle of the day, and they're saying that tea time is rest. It's not actually rest, right? It's not exactly the same thing, but we're comparing the tea time to the rest. And since we didn't use like or as, it is a metaphor. Tea time is rest as the light starts to fade, homework is done, and the table is laid. The kettle whistles, you know me, you do. The saucepan bubbles, and I know you too. Though distance and time have claimed it from me, this home lives within a memory My room is a picture which stays in my head. So again, they're comparing the room and the picture. But it's not literally a picture in their head, it's just their memory. So it's a metaphor. My room is a picture which stays in my head. The book's in the corner, the cat on the bed. Home is my best friend, my partner, my all. Be it ever so humble, be it ever so small. So I showed you those three metaphors. Morning is love, tea time is rest, and my room is a picture. I'm going to read through the poem one more time, and I want you to see if you can find one more metaphor hidden in this poem. Childhood home. Morning is love when mom bids me arise. Eggs shaped like hearts, a breakfast surprise. The sun barely risen looks down with a smile and says, take your time, just sit for a while. Tea time is rest as the light starts to fade. Homework is done and the table is laid. The kettle whistles, you know me, you do. The saucepan bubbles, and I know you too. Though distance and time have claimed it from me, this home lives within a memory. My room is a picture which stays in my head. The book's in the corner, the cat on the bed. Home is my best friend, my partner, my all. Be it ever so humble, be it ever so small. So see if you can find that fourth metaphor. It's when they're comparing two things, but there's no like or as. Two things that are not alike. Are you finding it? I see these is's up here. Homework is done. There's that literal language. It is, right? It's actually done. So I can't be a metaphor. Or the table is laid. Again, that's literal. They're talking about they literally set the table. See if you can find that metaphor. It is right here. Home is my best friend. Because home isn't actually your best friend, but they're comparing like home to being a friend. And again, it's a metaphor because it's using is. It's not using the word like, and it's not using the word as to compare them. This one is called No Difference. See if you can find some similes or some metaphors. No Difference by Shel Silverstein. Small as a peanut, big as a giant, we're all the same size when we turn off the light. Do you see those words as? Small as a peanut. It's comparing being small to being a peanut. Or big as a giant, being big to a giant, using as. So those are both similes. Small as a peanut, big as a giant. We're all the same size when we turn off the light. Rich as a sultan, poor as a mite. We're all worth the same when we turn off the light. Red, black, or orange, yellow or white, we all look the same when we turn off the light. So maybe the way to make everything right is for God to just reach out and turn off the light. So I want you to think, we saw these first two similes, small as a peanut, big as a giant, comparing being small to a peanut using the word as, or being big to a giant using the word as. Can you find another simile in this poem? You should have found it in the second stanza. Rich as a sultan, poor as a mite. We're all worth the same when we turn off the light. So they're comparing being rich to being a sultan, that's like a king, or poor to being a mite, that's like an ant or a bug. Rich as a sultan, poor as a mite, those are both similes. So today, just as a reminder, we worked at telling the difference between a metaphor and a simile. Remember, both of them are comparing two things that are not alike. But in a metaphor, we do not use like or as when we compare. And in a simile, we do use like and as when we're comparing them. Hope to see you next time.